Well, hello everybody. Welcome to the second chapter of Meditations on Life. And in this chapter, we'll be going deeper into the existential questions and just talking about life as a whole again. And again, this is a really personal series for me. I do not claim to be of any authority. I do not claim to be of anything. These are just my personal thoughts, and they don't claim anything over anything. So, you may as well take anything you like from the things that I speak of. And if you just don't like the content, you may, you know, leave it, leave the video. And if you have any recommendations for, further chapters, things to think about, or any commentary, criticism that you would like to make, you can do so in the comments. Anyway, let's start. And for today's chapter, I wanted to start with a famous philosopher, Martin Heidegger. I think that's the name in English. Okay, I will introduce him. I will introduce his overall ideas. He's a really complex philosopher. I don't know that much either, but from what I know. And then I will go on to how I incorporate that into my life and how others may do so, indeed. Okay, let's start. Who is Martin Heidegger? He is a German 20th century philosopher from Germany. And he was not devout, but he was an existentialist and one of the pioneers of phenomenology. He was practically Edmund Husserl, I think. Husserl. I don't really know the English pronunciation. He was his heir to phenomenology. And yeah, he eventually took over Edmund Husserl's seat at the Freiburg University. And then going on to his past, he was a National Socialist, which means he was practically a Nazi. Well, he was affiliated with them, and he has a way. Well, he hasn't apologized for it, and yeah, so practically he was a National Socialist, and he was part of the board that cast out the Edmund Husserl from the University of Freiburg because he was a Jew. So practically he was quite a fascist. But don't let this, take over your judgment of Heidegger's philosophy. I think it's very valuable if you can look at it with the right mindset. And when you think about it, his philosophy is really in this world. It's really material in the thinking sense. So you could very, very easily incorporate his ideas into a leftist, materialist, humanist understanding of the world. So it's honestly a wonder how he was a fascist, considering his worldview was really in here. Like, damn, I was really impressed with his philosophy and how he viewed humankind. Anyway, so and yeah, this is practically Martin Heidegger. And okay, so let's start with his philosophy. Martin Heidegger is one of his main points is that philosophy has been, since I think from his word Plato, has been taken away from the metaphysical aspect of it, like questioning being. But being, think of it with the big B, like everything there is to be, like, existence as a whole. Also, apologies, the television is giving different lights. And from the metaphysical questions, like, the essence of the universe, for example, Heraclitus said it was fire, for instance. So they were looking into the nature of everything there is to be. But from Plato, no, apologies, Socrates, yes. From Socrates on, it kind of came into the human world and to definitions and the metaphysical understandings of the world with, the theory of idea. Like Socrates didn't maybe come up with it, but after Socrates, his uh, heir was Plato, and Plato came up with the idea of the ideas world. So, uh, like, let's say this pillow has an idea, a perfect pillow, and this just takes the form of that. And Aristotle moved with it and said everything is in this world, but everything exists in forms, and there's still ideas. And for approximately thousands of years, we've been stuck with metaphysical explanations like dualist understandings of the world. So we try to define everything that we can, everything that we know of. Philosophy was, you know, reduced to explaining things, which is a matter of science, which science is very important, but science deals with what we already know. Science has assumptions that being is everywhere. But the thing is, we forgot to ask, what does any of this mean? Like, the meaning part was really forgotten. And we always talked, like, blah, blah, and explained. Like, we always try to define things. But Heidegger opposed this and said, we need to go back to the question of what does anything ever mean? And how do we create meaning? How do we live? And the meaning of being, like the questions of the metaphysical and like the bigger everything there is about this existence as a whole. So he wanted us to practically chase real philosophy and not just get stuck in positivism, like, or solely science, because we need to also chase meaning and we also need to live authentically. Okay, so this was his main goal, and there are a couple of concepts here that I would like to share. And these are, in his words, existence mode, existential modus. I think that was a word. I don't really. Uh, yeah, I think so. That was the word for it. How can I say? For example, Dasein, which means literally being there. So we exist in this physical world, and there is nothing beyond that. And we are everything that constitutes us. We are not our brain, we are not our soul, we are not something deep inside here or here, for as a matter of the fact. We are everything that this body contains. And we are here. We take up physical space and we interact with things because we have to. Because, for example, I'm interacting with this couch by sitting on it. I'm picking up this pillow. I'm, well, interacting with it. I see something. I'm interacting with it because I'm here. I have a physical body. And as long as I live, I will be about something. I will be interacting with something. I will always have some sort of experience going on. And okay, this is Dasein. And according he divides people into two categories, which could be interpreted as a fascist division, but I think let's keep this as an existential questioning. This is Dasein, being there, that questions itself, that realizes its own mortality, that realizes its own awareness of awareness, and a being that can realize itself and existence. Like, it can ask questions about being. Like, it can ask, what is physics? What is this? Why is there ever anything? What does any of this mean? So, Dasein creates meaning, and it can question that. But the second group is Dasman, which is them, like they. It means kind of they, the others, in a sense. And these others are people that don't question anything. And because also, one of his main, tying into one of his concepts, people anyone who has ever lived was thrown into this world. What do we mean by thrown in? Not by some divine force or anything, but we were born. We didn't consent. We didn't ask for it. There was no you before you were born. You just came to be over time. Proteins, calories, energy gathered up in this specific sequence of events and resulted in you. And you're here now. And now that you're here, you don't really know because life is actually a really complicated thing. You don't really know what is right, what is wrong. You don't really know death. And sometimes living can be a very difficult task. And deviating from society can be even more difficult. Because think of it, like you're outcasted, you are always, disliked by society because you think something else, you try to be yourself. And if you don't try to live authentically, if you just, live your life as society tells you to, you become Tasman. But everybody who has ever lived shifts between these two because Dasman is kind of necessary to live. You have to work, you have to interact with people, you have to go to the store and talk with the cashier to, get food. You need to talk with people to be happy. So you shift between these two personalities most of the time. And I think his philosophy was kind of like not focusing on Dasman. I think it's a really important aspect of being human, just being normal. And tying into his concepts again is the concept of everydayness, I think, which is when you don't really think about anything, you just live, go to work, come back home, do paintings, decorate your home, just live normally, like without the big philosophical questions. This is when you become Dasman. This is when you don't really question existence because you can't do this all the time, and you don't really have to. And this everydayness is sacred because it shows who you are, and you become yourself the most when you are in the everyday flow of life. Like it's kind of like who you are when you aren't really questioning something, when you aren't being observed. Like I can tell you so many things about myself, but probably if you go into my room and see my room, you can also see what I like. And it will show you what kind of person I am. Maybe I'm messy. Maybe my walls are cracked. And the world I live in kind of shows me, right? So this everydayness is a way to understand others and yourself. And it's a very important aspect of living. So, and as humans, we are temporal creatures. What does that mean? We have a certain time. We know we'll die, and we have a limited amount of time. That's practically it. That's temporality, and that gives life meaning. How, you may ask? Because you know every single moment is fleeting, and instead of just solely submitting to death and waiting for it, or just distracting yourself from it or denying death, you can be, in his words, being towards death. What does that mean? Well, you accept death as a reality of life, and you live not despite of it, but with it. And I think this is really powerful because it's such a big reality that not many other philosophers or people have captured in his age, I think. And I'd say that it's a really important thing to keep in mind. It will come, and we don't know what it will be like, and you will be gone. So you need to live authentically. But aside from that, going back to Heidegger's ideas, we are interacting with the world, and we just when well, giving his famous hammer example here, when you are using a hammer to put a nail into something, you don't really see the hammer as different from yourself. You just do it. Like, you don't really care about the hammer. If it broke, you will think about the hammer. But until then, until you think about it, it's just kind of part of you. You don't really even think about the hammer. And you know, this applies to so many things. When let's give some examples. My glasses, for instance, like I, I go about my day, but when I see something, I don't really go, "Oh, I'm seeing this better because of my glasses." No, I just see it. I just interact with that phenomena. And when you play something like a basketball game, when you throw the ball, you don't really think, "Oh, my brain gave the signal to my arm and it threw it like this." No, you incorporate everything that you have in this body and just be, like, just go with the flow. And in this sense, the phenomena in our world, like the things that we interact with, are crucial to our life because they show us and kind of make what we are. The things that I interact with, the people that I interact with, define me because we are always in a relation. Because, yes, I am myself. I am like kind of full of myself because I can't be anybody else. But I'm also defined by things that can, how can I say? For example, let's say there's this A person. I am A person's friend. I am B person's friend too. So there are so many things that constitute what I am as a whole. So there is no core me, and the me, the, how can I say, the self that we create is always in conjunction with the other, everything that is not us. Like, there is us, self, the sense of self, which gets destroyed when you die, and everything outside of it, and especially other people, are the others. And you make this differentiation that they are not you and you're not them, but you define one another because, yeah, as we said, you're a whole, and the things that you interact with kind of integrate into you and into what you do. The best example I can give here is, like, you can eat out of hunger and you can eat for fun. You are eating in both cases, but the context is different. How you connect to the idea, the phenomena of eating is different. So every single moment that we live in is special in its own right. Going back to Husserl, Edmund Husserl, he said, back to the things themselves, which is to stop trying to analyze, define everything, and just interact with phenomena as they come, as they show themselves to our consciousness. Because this pillow is not red. I see it red. It has a wavelength, some frequency, the sounds. They show themselves to my consciousness because I can hear a certain range of sound, a certain range of light. So I'm not interacting with the thing itself. I am interacting with the thing that I can see, the parts that it shows to me. So our world is constituted of what we can interact with. That's practically it. And we shouldn't try to define every moment. Yes, as we said, you can eat, but you can eat as hungry. You can eat for fun. You can eat to, I don't know, to raise charity, to maybe you don't eat to, put up an act for towards someone. There can be so many contexts, and every single moment, every single phenomena is a different context. Let's say I watch a TV show today and I watch the same episode tomorrow. These two phenomena will be different because I will be different. The, the me of today and the me of tomorrow will be different people. And let's give a final example. Think of the number 2, right? 2 is a number, like 2 equals 2, right? This is definitely true. But 2 is also defined as the number that comes after 1. It's a natural number. It's a positive number. It's an integer. and it's the number that comes before 3. And this applies to 3 as well. 3 is the number that comes after 2. So they create actually one another. They are not just themselves. 3 equals 3, but 3 also equals the number that comes after 2. 3 equals a positive number. So it has many, many, many qualities that constitutes what we think is the number 2. The 2 is 2, but the thing that we think as 2 is created in so many relations, so many, how can I say, build so many events that come together and create phenomena, create us, the people that we interact with. And we also shape them in return. As Martin Heidegger said, I think, I don't know the English version of it, but everybody is somebody else and nobody is themselves. We are always in a relation. We are always about something, going towards something. And also, to finalize my point, as we said, we will always experience something, and we will always be about something. When I'm hungry, by the way, also Jean-Paul Sartre makes the point that you are always something that you're not. You always go towards that. When you're hungry, you go towards not being hungry. When you're not hungry, you subconsciously and through time go towards being hungry. When you're bored, you try to not be bored. When you are not bored, you eventually go into boredom. So you are always going towards something. You are always about something that you aren't yet. And the ultimate yet is death. And when that comes, you will be about something, which is nothing. And until then, we have a world and we have phenomena that we need to interact honestly with. And as we said, back to the things themselves. Because you, the dear viewer, and me included, we may be just normal people, which is totally fine. But as we said, our context, even if similar, is irreducibly, unbreakably special, because you cannot be anybody else. And by that principle, your experience, the parts of the experience that show themselves to you, are yours and yours only. And that is special, and that needs to be cherished, if you ask me. If you ask me, of course. And in this life, just tying back into a pragmatic explanation of the video, just do what you like and interact with other people, and never forget, you are never just yourself. You are also with other people, and they undeniably shape you. So try to be kinder. Try to understand that what you are living in, they are also living in. But also hold them accountable, because I think accountability is respecting somebody else. If I, like, let's say somebody does a bad thing, and if I hold them accountable instead of just being kind, I think I'm being respectful towards them, because I'm respecting their freedom. And freedom comes with responsibility, I think. I hope you enjoyed this video. I just really wanted to post this video. I will probably, like, when I fully understand Being and Time by Heidegger, and when I read more into phenomenology with Merleau-Ponty, Jean-Paul Sartre, and the such, I will probably post another video analyzing their books and ideas. But for now, I just wanted to post this meditation on life. I hope you enjoyed the video. And again, as I said, these are what I know, what I remember, and my interpretations of them. I hope it has helped you. And if you have anything to say, you may do so in the comments. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.